Hi, I'm Culture Milk. Welcome back to my channel. The first book I read in November is Babel. A Chinese boy who lost his family to a plague comes to England by this Oxford professor. When he gets into the Oxford translation department after rigorous training, he realized that not everything is what it seems. It was not easy to read because it talks about colonialism very heavily. With a variety of instances and conversations, the book reveals how fragile and selfish colonialism is. It was also interesting how the book touches upon this hardship, the double hardship when you're a woman and also a person of color. It is certainly not a book that you can read for leisure, but if you like the dark academic fantasy setting with ethical questions, I think you'll enjoy it. After that, I read The Unmaking of June Farrow. Women in the main characters, June Farrow's family, have a history of going mad. Before her grandma passing away, there was also a mysterious disappearance of her mother. June tries to figure out what has happened with her mom and realizes that a lot of things happen hidden. I finished this book because I just wanted to know what happened with June's mom. So I can say it didn't really leave a lot of impressions on me. The third book I read, The Spirit Bears Its Teeth, is about an autistic trans boy who's sent into this rehabilitation school forcefully. In this fictional Victorian era, people who have purple eyes can talk to death. This rehabilitation school locks up the women with violet eyes who refuse to follow society's norms. In this school, he discovers what kind of monstrosity is handed to these women and how his special gift can be looked as a threat. How the story conveys the tragedy of the school is haunting and very grotesque. I had to skim several parts because I couldn't handle the gore. At the same time, the struggle and agony of not being accepted by society are beautifully portrayed. The protagonist has to constantly fight against this box other people push him into while protecting his true self. As much as it is a gory one, it is a well-written, beautiful book. After a heavy book, I decided to read a romance novel, which is The Pairing. The couple broke up right before Food and Wine Europe tour. After 4 years, they meet again to use each of their tour vouchers. To reduce the remaining tension and longing, they decide to compete with the number of hookups during the tour. With all the descriptions of foods and wine, unresolved lust and love overflows between these two characters. Personally, the amount of spicy scene was a bit too much, but I think it helped to show that these two characters still have a lot of remaining feelings for each other. This will be a nice book to read if you miss blazing sun, cooling sea, and delicious food in summer. The next book I read in November was The God of the Woods. First of all, let's talk about the book cover. I think this is really pretty. But the story is not pretty at all. A girl disappears from a summer camp, but it is not any random girl. She is the one from the family who owns this whole campsite. And this is not the first time this family has lost its child. Many years ago, her brother got lost in the woods and never came back. As the investigation continues, the dark history of the family starts to unfold. The way how the suspense builds up is absolutely gripping in this book. Each perspective pushes the plot into the final revelation without muddling its journey. I couldn't stop flipping the pages and learning about the fall of this rich family due to their greed and obsessive control. The sixth book I read is The Bullet That Missed. This Thursday Murder Club series has become my comfort read. In this third book, the four retired elders rummage through the supposed suicide of a bright journalist. As always, the humor and sassiness of these four characters are warm and cozy. There is a certain comfort only they can provide because they're on their final chapters of their lives. They're way more laid back and nonchalant than 20-ish or 30-ish characters. Why wouldn't they? The mystery in this third installment is juicy as well with the unexpected ending. Then I dabbled into the poem The Orange and Other Poems. This was the first English poet book I've ever read, and it was fairly easy to understand what the poet wanted to share. Honestly, it was a nice quick palate cleanser after 2 long books. In November, I finally read Ninth House. Alex Stern accepts the offer to join Yale and a secret society after surviving a gruesome crime. As she learns about Yale secret societies and tries to fit in, she becomes more and more suspicious of a murder and its connection to the societies. Because this is an adult fantasy novel, the descriptions of violence are way more detailed than the author's young adult series, for example like Grishaverse. Although it can be hard to digest those gruesome descriptions, but it supports the dark, sinister vibe of this book. The initial pacing of this book is slow, but after building its momentum, the story starts to race to the ending. And in the next book, Hellbent, Alex, the protagonist, no longer tries to hide his personality. In the first book, Ninth House, she is afraid of standing out among wealthy elites. In the second one, she is an invincible force that gets what she wants. However, this one simile, cannonball, is repeatedly used so many times to explain her personality. Thematically, like the first book, this one also focuses on the gatekeeping of power enacted by the wealthy. The powerful magic is kept secret and is used to maintain the status quo. Against this unjust hoarding, Alex sneers and attacks with her gifts. I cannot say I enjoyed this one more than the first one, but I still recommend it. The final book in November is Foster. This short book is about a young girl staying a happy summer with a married couple. She is sent to this home for a brief summer because her parents cannot take care of all of their children while expecting a baby. I have first thought that the book was just mediocre, not really living up to the acclaim it received. But as time went on, this book just kept popping up in my mind. Even though it is a short book, it succeeds in conveying deep grief and love. It also has a lot of heart in it because it portrays this connection and really deep connection between this girl and a married couple. And they don't really have any blood-related relationships. So it is a very tearful and heartwarming thing to read. It is really interesting how your opinion of a book can change with time, like Marination. Those are the books I read in November. I hope you enjoyed this video and catch you guys later. Bye!